Good day, everybody. My name is Andile Hlatshwayo, and this is my podcast partner here, Rudra Malepe.
Hello, guys.
So we'd like to welcome you today to our podcast where we'll be talking about The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. Some critics say that Angela Carter shows in this fairy tale how men uses romance to trap women into marrying them.
Yeah, and Carter once said that she didn't want to do simple visions of fairy tales, but to use their hidden meanings to create new stories. Others think that she is not against love, but against toxic men such as the Marquis. So me and my partner here, we are going to unpack everything for you about the Bloody Chamber.
Our first point would be about how Carter moves from fairy tale to Gothic style. So this fairy tale, The Bloody Chamber, is based on the fairy tale Bluebird. So in The Bloody Chamber, we find a young unnamed narrator who marries a rich man trying to escape poverty without knowing that this man hides a very terrible secret. He kills women after marrying them. We also find that the Marquis is not just a charming prince, but he is a very dangerous man. He is a predator who kills women after marrying them.
So we can also find out in the short story that the castle is described as being scary, lonely, and with secret chambers filled with dead women bodies. So let's start by looking into one of the most disturbing scenes in the short story. So there is somewhere in the short story where the narrator says, "He stripped me," comment that he was as if he was stripping leaves off an artichoke. So the narrator here is being treated as something that can be consumed, an artichoke. So you can see that she's not being treated as a partner, which also reflects a Gothic horror.
So another quote that we found is when the unnamed narrator said, "When nothing but my scarlet palpating core remained." So here we can see how bloody and violent the language used is, which shows how dangerous sexuality can be when it is controlled by men like the Marquis.
And you know what's worse? The Marquis is being linked to a pornographic image in the short story. Like she's being described as the old nonocl leader who examines the narrator. So here Carter is critiquing male gaze and pornography, which also reflect Gothic horror.
So moving on to gender, sexuality, and control. So as it is known that in fairy tales, women are expected to be passive and be scared of men. But here Carter flips this and makes the narrator curious and sexual. Notice that there is a line where she says, "I was aghast to feel myself staring." Here Carter doesn't hide female desire, but she makes it complex. Even in horror, the narrator feels arousal, which makes the story more unsettling and powerful. So
we can see that as women were being expected to be obedient, but then Carter is moving away from that. So moving on, I will emphasize on the quote that I said earlier, that he stripped me, comment that he was as if he was stripping leaves off an artichoke. So this metaphor doesn't only reveal a dehumanization of the narrator, but it also reveals the power that the Marquis has over the narrator. So Carter here is trying to show us how men in patriarchal fantasy uses women for pleasure, not for partnership.
So another quote that we found is, "The bloody bandage of rubies, the wardrobe full of clothes from purveyed and worth." So here the fashion, the jewelry are glamorous, but Carter makes them Gothic. The ruby ring is described as a bloody bandage, which shows injury ownership, and even foreshadowing the Marquis's violence. So wealth here is seen as a weapon of control for the Marquis to control the unnamed narrator.
So moving on explaining how how the short story reveals a major theme of sexuality. Carter uses violence and bloody imagery to describe the bride's sexuality, showing how female desire becomes dangerous when filtered through male control. So there is a point where the narrator saying that when nothing but my scarlet palpitating core remained. So here the metaphor, my scarlet palpitating core, reveals both vulnerability and raw sexual energy. But because it is described in a language of violence, the narrator's sexual desire is being reduced to something that the Marquis consume.
So moving on to the third point, which is about the atmosphere of the dread and gothic devices. So the castle that is in the middle of Norway is merely not a setting, but it represents the trapping and fear for the main character. Taking the line that says, the sea siren of a place. So the sea and cliffs isolate the castle, which makes it not a palace of safety, but a prison cut off from the real world. So in fairy tales, we all know that in fairy tales, castles are more usually magical and welcoming. But here, Carter makes hers frightening and horrific and lonely. So the Gothic architecture, twisting corridors, closed chambers, and chambers of castles, they all show the Gothic, the horror that is faced by the main character in the story.
Yes, like even the bloody chamber itself is a literal and symbolic chamber of horror and revelation. So moving on, this is demonstrated somewhere in the short story, where they say the walls of this stark torture chamber where the naked rock, they gleamed as if they were sweating with fright. So this personification here, sweating with fright, makes a room itself seem alive, terrified by Marquis' violence, and it intensifies the atmosphere of the dread and isolation. So Carter here tries to create a sense of fear.
So another quote that we found in this fairy tale is, I scrubbed my forehead with the nail brushes, I scrubbed the key, but this red mark will not go away. So this reflects the suspense where women's bodies become the sites of guilt.
So moving on, guys, we are going to our last part of the podcast for today. So we will be talking about female agency and reimagining romance in the bloody chamber. So, as you noticed through the short story, Angela Carter is centering women on her conversation, giving them a voice. So the main character is not docile, but she is curious, thoughtful, and eventually changed. She does not need a male hero to rescue her, but instead she is awakened. So after the Marquis brought the narrator in his isolated castle, he made sure that he cut her off from her home and her familiar life, meaning that she was trapped under his rules. So he furthermore forbidden the narrator to enter a secret chamber where he was hiding the dead bodies of their wives that he previously married. So you can sense that she was very dangerous. he was a murderer. But then the narrator, instead of obeying the rules, he went far beyond by disobeying her husband by entering the forbidden chamber. As we know that in the fairy tales, women were expected to be passive and obedient, but the narrator flips that and opens the chamber.
So a quote in the play that shows female agency is when the narrator said, I sensed in myself a potential for corruption that took my breath away. So here the bride, we can see that she has a sense of agency, in which her agency lies in acknowledging her own sexuality. So we can see that she is trying not to be controlled by the what? By the Marquis.
Yeah, so Carter presents sexuality as complex and transformative, not shameful. So there's a point where the narrator said, I had been infinitely disheveled by the loss of my virginity. So Carter represents sexuality as complex and transformative, not shameful. So this is demonstrated somewhere in the short story where the narrator was saying, I had been infinitely deceived by the loss of my virginity. So Carter here, instead of punishing the brides for desire, she is reappropriating female sexuality. So the word dissolved itself suggests change and disruption, not disgrace. So it is important because Carter doesn't punish the narrator for desiring or experiencing sex. Instead, she is reimagining romance as messy and complicated, not as neat as happily ever after. So here the bride's sexuality is transformative, or let me say even unsettling. But then Carter shows its part of her agency, not her downfall.
So, as you all know that in Gothic tales, normally women are rescued by princes, by men, but here Carter flips this normality by making the narrator's mother to go and rescue her daughter, putting the females in control and being the rescuers.
So thank you guys for listening to us. You can hear that the mother of the narrator was being described as being wild rescuer for her daughter. So guys, we really thank you for listening to us. But remember, not every castle hides Prince Charming. Some others hide Bloody Champ. Thank you. Bye.